I've pretty much finished packing. So basically I've got a free day until about 3 p.m. Then that's gonna be the time I take the flight out of Sandspit and Haida Gwaii. Yeah, so today's plan is we're gonna explore more of the Sandspit area and hopefully we can discover the whole spit section of the Sandspit. But first, let me head to the airport to see if there can find more information at the visitor center there.
The visitor center in Sandspit is conveniently located inside the Sandspit airport, where our adventure in Haida Gwaii started and will end. Other than the typical map and information things you'll find at all other visitor centers, this is also the only place in Sandspit where you can rent a bicycle to discover an island with only one paved road and one settlement. While at the visitor center, I found out that you could do a loop that will allow you to see the spit in its entirety. And that's gonna be what we'll be doing in this episode. Once getting out of the airport, you'll see a monument right outside.
Alright, so behind me is the memorial to Flight 324, and that's basically a memorial set to remember those who died in a fatal airplane crash during the Korean War. So that was an American flight that had to stop over here at Sandspit. Sandspit was a very important fuel stop for those flights from Alaska or from Asia, especially for the military during World War II. And this actually happened during the Korean War, so the flight was en route from Korea, and unfortunately it crashed nearby. And there are two plaques on this memorial. One is essentially explaining what's going on, and the other one was actually the words of Winston Churchill on this event. Geez, has Winston Churchill even been here?
I'm pretty sure Sir Winston Churchill has seen places that are just as beautiful as Haida Gwaii. Anyways, let's continue our walk around the spit. Soon I reached the converging point we reached the other day. The difference this time was that the weather was a lot nicer and the time for me to spend there was plenty. You know what? They don't say second time is the charm for no reason. During this second visit, I discovered that the spit had a hidden part that extended all the way into the ocean. Probably because the tide was relatively low compared to the other evening. I was able to see it this time. Can you imagine people taking a stroll to the end of the spit during low tide, and then when the tide starts to come up, these people will find themselves being trapped in the middle of the ocean? This area attracted a lot of birds, like eagles and seagulls. That means one thing. There must be a lot of food the birds could feast on nearby. And I wasn't wrong. Right next to the area, there was a whole bunch of tidal pools where intertidal species flourish and become most accessible to us human beings.
Yeah, so right now it's low tide, and I'm gonna join my new friends, the eagles and the seagulls, to see if we can find anything here. There's a shell underwater. Let's see if it's still alive. Well, not really, but hey, look. Some sort of coral reef here. Of course, we've also got, unfortunately, a dead crab right here.
Everything you see here would have been underwater during high tides. This gave us a glimpse of what shallow parts of the ocean look like if they're more accessible. Continue our walk around the Spit area. The trail essentially went along the fences of Sandspit Airport.
Here comes the difference between civilization, and that's the airport, of course, and the wilderness. Behind me, the sign here says beware of jet blast. Well, I'd love to film for you guys, but the problem is Sandspit has only one scheduled commercial flight every day. So if I film jet blast from here, chances are I'm gonna miss my flight.
Once you go around the other side of the Spit, you'll walk parallel to the Haida Strait. Funny thing is, I had the feeling that I've seen this scenery somewhere before, but not in Haida Gwaii.
Yeah, I have to say now this area reminds me of the Hudson Bay in summer.
Eventually, I could see the end of the physical Spit. It was the beginning of another epic adventure for those who were more prepared, as you could go along the shoreline to reach the parts of Moresby Island that were less traveled. But for me, I think that's probably it. Wait, where was the trail that could lead me back to the main road? Whatever, I'll just use my basic instinct at this point.
Alright, so I'm walking towards the airport now. Yeah, so it's about 10-minute walk from where I'm staying. Sounds kind of familiar, isn't it? I mean, the setting of this airport is also very similar to the Whitehorse International Airport. Yeah, but this time, instead of starting a trip, we're pretty much ending it here. Or is it? Well, for now, I guess it's time to say goodbye. Again, this is Sayu Rinpoche. We might be saying goodbye for now, but you know the adventure doesn't stop here, and I will see you in the next one.
Despite numerous cancellations and surprises, our Haida Gwaii adventure reached the very end. After all, many of you might ask, is Haida Gwaii worth visiting? I am actually not gonna answer this question myself this time. If you Google the same question, I'll lead you to the website of the Vogue magazine where that question is answered in an article, and I stand by it 100%. If the distance and the effort involved seemed overwhelming, trust us, it's worth it. Haida Gwaii is a snapshot of the unchecked power of nature and a testament to the bravery of the humans who inhabited the area over the millennia. The conclusion of this Haida Gwaii trip also concludes our British Columbia adventure. Certainly for now. There are so much more to discover of this vast Canadian province. And if I get a chance in the future, I'll definitely show you more. After all, this is the place where I always return to, no matter where I go. Because there is no other place like home.
Well, there's a bus a little bit. You still have to like do the processing afterwards. Big Orange, what do you think? Huh?
Okay, so what's the plan next? You know, sometimes they say be careful about what you wish for. And sometimes your old jokes are gonna come back and haunt you. Before coming to Dawson, I thought Jack London was a writer from England. It turns out that he's actually from San Francisco, California. Jack London wasn't even his real name. I mean, what kind of American writer names himself after a city in England? Don't you think it should be something like Jack Washington, Jack San Diego, that kind of stuff? And here's my take here. Bonjour, je suis Jacques Paris.